Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started.
Tama Tonga has now given himself a new nickname after he had to be the one to step up to Jacob Fatu with no Solo Sikoa in sight. The star had to take matters into his own hands. During Saturday night's main event, Jacob Fatu faced Braun Strowman in what was a match that was to settle a grudge between the two hard-hitting stars. While Strowman got a lot of offense early on, there was a point where things changed. Fatu got him in a corner and started to hit him with multiple hip attacks. When the referee stopped him, he threw the referee out and kept hitting the hip attacks even after the match ended. The security tried to stop him, but he hit the then bleeding Strowman with 3 more springboard moonsaults as well. The monster among men was left coughing out blood while Fatu went to the back. It could have been even worse had Tama Tonga not stepped up to him in the absence of Solo Sikoa and told him to stop. Michael Cole even called Tonga the voice of reason here, himself in disbelief at what he saw. Tama Tonga has now given himself a new name as well. He changed his bio to call attention to it. He's now called the voice of reason, and he added a SHHHHHHHHII after that as well. After Sikoa walked out and left Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga last week, the star has not said anything, and it appears that Tonga and Fatu have taken matters into their own hands in an unconventional manner. The air in the arena was tense, a palpable storm of emotions ready to erupt. Solo Sikoa had walked out of the bloodline shadow, turning his back on both Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman weeks earlier. But the fallout was far more chaotic than anyone could have imagined. Solo had not only abandoned his family but also crossed every conceivable line, injuring stars in his wake and leaving a fractured WWE roster behind him. It was a chilling display of rebellion, and the fallout brought 2 of wrestling's most fierce and prideful warriors, Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu, face to face. The betrayal and havoc caused by Solo Sikoa left Roman Reigns seething, but the head of the table remained silent, as if waiting for something, or someone, to restore order. Meanwhile, Jacob Fatu, the Samoan werewolf, had stepped into the chaos, ready to assert his dominance in Solo's absence. Known for his unrelenting style and primal ferocity, Fatu wasn't here to clean up the mess, he wanted to make it worse, turning his rage toward the WWE roster. But what no one expected was Tama Tonga, known for his brash attitude and sharp wit, stepping up. The chaos begins. It all unfolded on SmackDown, where Solo Sikoa appeared briefly during the opening segment to taunt Roman Reigns. Clad in black, his demeanor darker than ever, Solo made it clear he had no intentions of coming back to the bloodline or aligning with anyone. His speech was cut short by Jacob Fatu's sudden arrival. The crowd roared as Fatu stormed the ring, his wild energy uncontainable. Fatu confronted Solo, accusing him of tarnishing the family name and losing his roots. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. But before anything could escalate further, Solo smirked, shoved Fatu aside, and left through the crowd, shouting, "Handle it yourself." Fatu didn't take the insult lightly. Furious, he turned his attention to a vulnerable opponent scheduled for the night. Rey Mysterio Jr., the Samoan werewolf, assaulted the legendary luchador backstage, leaving Rey battered and helpless. Medical staff swarmed in as Fatu roared his dominance into the camera, warning anyone who dared to challenge his might. Tama Tonga's declaration. Later that evening, Tama Tonga's music hit. The leader of the Guerrillas of Destiny walked down the ramp with an air of defiance, microphone in hand. The crowd was electric, sensing something big was about to happen. "Jacob Fatu," Tama began, his voice steady but laced with fire, "you're running around here like you're the king of the jungle, tearing through everyone in your path because Solo Sikoa walked out on you. But you know what they say? When the lion leaves, the warrior steps up." The crowd erupted, sensing the challenge brewing. "I've watched you destroy legends and disrespect the name we all carry. You think you're the apex predator, but you're nothing more than a dog off its leash. And that's where I come in. You see, I'm not just Tama Tonga anymore. From this day forward, I'm the Tonga warrior, the last line of defense against your chaos." The declaration sent shockwaves through the WWE universe. Tama had always been a force to reckon with, But this was a different side of him, a man stepping into a role of responsibility for his family and legacy. A heated confrontation. The next week on SmackDown, Jacob Fatu stormed into the ring, visibly enraged. Grabbing a mic, he wasted no time addressing Tama's bold statement. "Tonga Warrior, huh?" Fatu snarled. "You think you can come in here and stop me? Boy, you've got no idea what you're stepping into. You're just another fool looking to be put down." Before Fatu could say another word, Tama's music hit. The Tonga Warrior emerged, wearing a brand new ring jacket emblazoned with his new moniker. The crowd chanted his name as he stepped into the ring, coming face to face with Fatu for the first time. "You want to talk about putting people down?" Tama retorted. "Let's talk about Rey Mysterio, about all the stars you've injured because you're too much of a coward to face someone your own size. That ends tonight." The tension between the two men was electric. Fatu lunged forward, but Tama was ready, throwing the first punch. The two warriors brawled as the arena erupted in chaos. Security rushed in, barely managing to separate them. The crowd chanted, "Let them fight." As SmackDown went off the air. The match of pride and fury. The match between Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu was set for the following week. Dubbed the Clash of the Dynasties, it was billed as a battle not just for dominance but for the pride of their shared Samoan heritage. The storyline had captivated fans, with many speculating whether Solo Sikoa would make an appearance. The night of the match, the atmosphere was electric. The crowd was split, cheering for both men as they made their entrances. Tama Tonga stood tall, the words Tonga Warrior displayed proudly on his gear. Fatu, on the other hand, was a storm of rage, ready to tear Tama apart. The match itself was a brutal war. Fatu's raw power clashed with Tama's cunning and speed. The two men traded devastating blows, each refusing to back down. At one point, Fatu attempted his signature Samoan splash, but Tama rolled out of the way, countering with a gun stun that nearly secured him the victory. As the match reached its climax, the crowd was on its feet. Tama, bloodied but unbowed, climbed the turnbuckle and delivered a thunderous superfly splash, a tribute to their shared heritage. The move was enough to keep Fatu down for the 3 count. Aftermath. After the match, Tama stood tall, his arm raised in victory. But the celebration was short-lived. As he turned to leave, Solo Sikoa's music hit. The arena erupted as Solo appeared on the ramp, staring down Tama with a mix of respect and menace. Solo entered the ring, standing face to face with Tama. The two men exchanged a tense stare before Solo extended his hand. The crowd gasped, unsure of what to expect. Tama hesitated before shaking Solo's hand, the moment signaling a potential alliance, or an even greater rivalry down the line. Jacob Fatu, meanwhile, watched from the ramp, a look of fury on his face. It was clear that this war was far from over. The legacy of the Tonga Warrior. Tama Tonga's transformation into the Tonga Warrior was more than just a rebranding. It was a declaration of his commitment to his family, his heritage, and his fans. By stepping up to Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa, Tama proved that he wasn't just a player in the game, he was a force to be reckoned with. The clash between these 3 Samoan titans had only just begun, and the WWE Universe was eager to see where the story would go next. Would Solo Sikoa rejoin the bloodline? Would Jacob Fatu seek revenge? And how far would Tama Tonga go to defend his newfound legacy as the Tonga Warrior? Only time would tell, but one thing was certain, the Samoan dynasty was stronger and more chaotic than ever before.